What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the 2 Plus podcast. Today I'm going to work off a video that Alex put out a week ago where he ran through his strategy when planning for a tournament game. So we are both going to a big Sydney tournament called the Old Hammer this weekend. I am running Orcs and Goblins, Grand Army, bit of a mixed bag that you can see on screen there. That's just been painted. Sorry for the backdrop, but that is on my painting desk. So they are done, ready to go. I have matched up against Grand Cathay, which is interesting and exciting. It's not the most tuned Grand Cathay list, but it still has all the scary bits in it, maybe just not skewed as you might expect at some of the most cutthroat tournaments. But I'm playing against Paul, who comes to our tournaments, has had a couple practice games with them, so will be no newbie. And I am currently, as other people might do, working through the process of figuring out how to win my first matchup when I know the opposition's list and I know the objectives based off the tournament pack. We've had this pairing for about a week, so we've been ruminating for that whole time. And I have been frantically trying to figure out what the best matchups are for list versus list and what the path is to victory for my list against this list. So today I'm going to run through specifically matchups and how they can help you figure out how to win a game. It doesn't always have to be just run straight at them. There is strategy in Warhammer, the old world, and we here at the 2 Plus podcast think that is where the fun of the game is figuring out what the strategy is to win. These two lists, I think, are pretty evenly matched. I reckon I'm a little bit the underdog, but I don't think it's a blowout. But I'm very interested to see what you guys think. So let me know in the comments on how you think I can win. But I'm going to run you through parts of my strategy right now. So let's start off with my list. I have a Black Orc Warboss with a great weapon. He is my general on a Wyvern with the Grizzly Trophy Rack, which gives -1 leadership in a 6-inch aura. And then Trollhide Trousers, Talisman of Protection, so he has a 3-up, 5-up, 5-up save. So his main role when I built this list is to tie up the big bad of the opponent's list, the dragon, the baron, that sort of thing, and just keep it in place. It's durable. It can deal damage, but with 5 attacks and no AP on the Wyvern stomps, it's not a guaranteed to win a combat, but it can tie things up because of toughness 6 and a 3, 5-up, 5-up, 5-up save, essentially, after AP. So that's my thinking behind that piece. I have an Orc Weird Knob who's a level 3 with the Lore Familiar running Elementalism. He will most likely every single game pick Earthen Ramparts, Plague of Rust, and Wind Blast, if not TMP. He goes in a big block of Black Orcs that you can see in my core down there, which is a part of one of my scoring units. Another character that goes into that unit is the Orc Big Boss. He has a great weapon, but really he's a battle standard bearer with the War Banner, adding 2 more combat res to my Black Orc unit. I have a Night Goblin Odd Knob, and he's a level 3 with the Staff of Badoom running Illusion. I really think Illusion would benefit from the Lore Familiar because there's there is Miasmic Mirage and Crystal Column, which I want almost every time, but I also want Glittering Robe, so I can always default to that, but I'm trying to get one of those Crystal Columns and Miasmic Mirage to kind of disrupt the really scary offensive pieces of my opponent. But I am running the risk of having to roll that. But I will always get Glittering Robe, which gives a little bit of durability to my Night Goblins. I also have a Night Goblin Big Boss. He has a great weapon and a Charm Shield with Fungus Wine. He essentially is someone to just soak a challenge, put a little bit of punch out from my unit, which won't do any damage. The regular Night Goblins won't do a thing. So he's there. He's got a great weapon, so Strength 6 attacks. I think he has 3 of them. And he can just he has higher weapon skills, so he doesn't get hit on 2s by generals, which makes him just that little bit more durable. So he's there as a bit of a defensive piece, but he's also there so I can bring 2 Manglers, which you can see down the bottom. But one little trick that I've stumbled upon from a comment on our YouTube channel, which is why I always encourage people to comment and let me know what you're running, because I've forgotten your name, I'm sorry, but shout out to you, Kicknick. I was running in a nomadic wild list with a big block of ambushing wolf riders, but the commenter pointed out that he actually gives ambush to 1 unit of wolf riders in the same muster list. So it doesn't matter if he's in Grand Army. The Goblin Wolf Riders, which you can see in my core there as well, get ambush for free. And I really believe in ambushing, especially for objective capturing. Kicknick allows them to come on the board on a 3 also, which makes it just that little bit more reliable, and they turn up when you want them to, and generally early in the game, so you're not wasting time with that off the board. So Kicknick is a bit of an enabler. He's there to make my Wolf Riders better at scoring, but he's also a source of magic attacks. He also gives that unit a little bit more punch because he has 4 attacks with a pretty good weapon that you can alternate. So I don't really like Wolf Riders by themselves. Impetuous is too hard to manage when you're in skirmish. They have poor leadership. They don't do anything in combat. Sure, they can take short bows, but what's strength 3 shooting really going to do? Kicknick just turns them into a pure scoring piece, which you'll see from the objectives. I'll show you one, which I'm running into this list with. It allows them to become a lot more of a useful piece for me. Running through that core again, there's 16 Black Orcs, great weapons and shields, big red raggedy flags, so they go up to weapon skill 5. This with the BSP, I think, has static combat res of 6. It has close order, rank, banner, war banner, BSB, red raggedy flag, so that's 7. And then if they outnumber, they get to 8, which is a huge amount of combat res. And so far in my test games, they've been really, really good. The Night Goblin mob there, essentially you cannot win games, I think, without fanatics as orcs and goblins. 3 is not enough. But it gives you a little bit of an edge, but fanatics are a really strong piece of offense for orcs and goblins that can't be ignored. I gave them short bows because when I was testing them, I found they were standing around doing nothing. Spears I don't think are worth it, but short bows may as well, but I'm kind of regretting that. 30 points, probably would have preferred to spend that elsewhere. They also have netters, which I do believe in. Once you combine Glittering Robe to make them -1 to hit, takes them up to being hit on 3s rather than 2s most of the time. Netters is great for those strength 5 units, say Empire Knights, that would on the charge be wounding you on 2s. They now wound you on 3s. It's surprising how much, not surprising, it's real how much of a difference that is when rather than being hit and wounded on 2s, being hit and wounded on 3s, the amount of fluffing your opponent can do. 7 Wolf Riders, which I explained, 2 Doom Divers and 2 Manglers. I think they're great and extremely efficient pieces. Pretty self-explanatory there. So let's go into the Grand Cathay list. This is Paul's army. He has a Lord Magistrate on a lantern. He has all the bombs, the Iron Hail guns and the Dragonfire bombs, so he's shooting lots of shots. Jade Armor of Beishai is Magic Resist 2 and a 5-up ward save. And Ring of Jet, which allows you to cast Unquiet Spirits as a bound spell 2. This guy is a piece of work. We all know about lanterns. I'll run through what I'm planning to do with this. There is a strategy, but this guy for me is pretty unkillable. He'll be really hard for me to catch. I have probably 2 things that can catch and kill him. And I'd have to get lucky to do that. So we'll get into the strategy there in a second. Thankfully, there's only one balloon, though, which is that one. He has a Shugenjin, I've always forgotten how to say it, sorry, but Lord. He's a level 4, and he is carrying the Monkey King's Wisdom, which is a Strength 10, AP 4, Strikes Last, D3 Wounds weapon, which is 75 points, which is incredible. He has that with Scroll of Wei Jin, which gives the bearer 1 more spell, so 5 spells, but still has to roll for them. And he is rolling Illusion, so this guy's strategy is to Spectral Doppelganger the crap out of me. And if not, he has 4 Strength 10, AP 4 attacks regardless. This guy's really scary, and I have some plans for it, but I don't know how confident I am about dealing with this. It's one of these really swingy parts of the matchup. In core, he has 3 units of Jade Warriors, 16, 16, 18. One of them is not meant to have stubborn there, but whatever. One of them has the War Banner. One of them has Jade Banner, which is essentially double War Banner, +2 combat res for 40 points. A full command, and then 1 basic unit just full command. So these guys are his scoring pieces. They are not going to be threatening me with damage. A lot of my stuff kills these guys, but they will have the ability to score the points which can flip the game. He has 4 artillery, 2 grand cannons with ogre loaders and gunpowder bombs, and 2 fire rain rocket batteries with ogre loaders and gunpowder bombs, which is terrifying, to put it lightly. But you can see there it's not the most tuned list, but there's definitely the Shugengan Lord, the 4 artillery, the lantern, The Jade Warriors, sure, aren't going to kill much, but they have the ability to score a lot of points for him. The scenario we're playing is a chance encounter. So this is part of the Warhammer circuit, which you may have heard us talking about on this channel a lot, and any of the Australian podcasters, particularly Sydney-based, would have mentioned this tournament. Essentially, John and Michael, TOs there, have altered the chance encounter rules. So there's 2 bonus points. It runs with domination for controlling more of those quarters you can see on the board there than your opponent. If you control 2 each, you get no bonus points, but if you have 1, they have none, you get 2. Bonus points in this tournament. One bonus point is worth 250 kill points. So if you get 2, that's 500 kill points. That is a dragon's worth of kill points. So objective play is really encouraged in this tournament, which is a great leveler, I have found, for facing up against those skew lists if you're playing for the objectives. The special feature, which you can see in the middle there, operates like a special feature as per the rulebook, grants bonuses for whoever's closest. Has to be core to control this one, unit strength 10, and whoever controls it at the end of the game gets 2 bonus points. So there is 4 bonus points up for grabs here, or 1,000 kill points for playing the objectives. So really can't be ignored. The way deployment works, whoever wins the roll-off gets to pick a quarter. Whoever deploys second has to deploy diagonally opposite to them. So essentially there's impassable on one, and then hills, hills and a forest on the other one, but it is an 18-inch gap between deployment. So there's some tactics here, firstly, which I am running through in my head, against a 4 artillery list on how to, if I win the roll-off, which one will I choose to deploy in? As it stands right now, I am looking at deploying in the top left or bottom right. That might be surprising to some people because I'm giving my opponent a hill, but in my practice games, the forest has acted as great cover to stop the artillery being able to shoot at everything. The bottom left and top right quarters, there's actually a lot of open space, which I think is better for the artillery. The catch there, though, is, and I'm happy for people to weigh in here and tell me what they think, he will have to deploy most likely in front of his artillery, which would block line of sight because they don't have a hill. So this part I'm not sold on yet where I'm going. And it's the first kind of piece of strategy and specifically a matchup that I'm determining. I'm determining a matchup of deployment, what I get to give him. If he wins, so be it, I react. But this is the first matchup of the game. And right now, I don't really know what to do. So I'm open to people to tell me what they think I should do. Either way, I think it's going to play to the same strategy, to be honest. Now, before we continue, I just want to quickly thank our sponsor, Pandemwargaming. He's been with us for a couple of months now. Jeff, from the same circuit that we play at in Sydney, creates incredible terrain, game aids, movement trays, converters, all that sort of stuff. If you're interested in any of that material for your tabletop, please check out the link in the description of this video. Follow that, we get a little kickback. He has some great products there. Australian small business, can ship internationally, so don't be afraid there. But check him out, Pandemwargaming, quality stuff. And then I'd also just like to thank our paid supporters on Patreon and YouTube members. If you want to join, please do. The links are in the description of this video. Really helps pay for things like the microphone I'm using now and helps motivate us to keep pumping out content. Now, let's get into the first strategy. So I'm going to run through initially his list, what I think it's there to do, and then what I think I can do about it quickly, but I'll go into more detail when I go through my units. So his lantern there. Its main role would be to kill my infantry. I don't think he will go after my wolf riders or my manglers or my doom divers, for example, because what really is the firepower of this unit is the dragonfire bombs or the lantern bombs. I can't remember which one. I think it's the lantern bombs that drops a 5-inch or 3-inch template, possibly 2 3-inch templates on my unit that scatter and deal strength 5 AP2 hits. That wrecks my night goblins, obviously. Thankfully, my black orcs toughness 4, which helps, but my night goblins are going to get evaporated by this if he gets some direct hits off early. The thing that helps me here, though, is they're probably his best targets. I don't feel like he's chasing my wyvern. So if I can get my infantry into combat, then he can't fire dragon bombs, well, lantern bombs at my units who are in combat. So that is going to be the first matchup where he doesn't really have an entire game to kill my infantry, because I'm going to run into combat. They'll either die or they'll win or they'll be in combat. That's the plan for me. So that's why my plan here is just to kind of ignore the lantern. That might sound weird. If the opportunity arises, I might random move a mangler into it, but I don't think I'm going to be taking pot shots at it with my Doom Diver, because it's just too hard to do 10 wounds to this thing. Going to spend all game where I need to kill some more of the offensive threats in the game. So the lantern is known as one of those big bads of the Warhammer scene at the moment, but Alex and I kind of agree that if you're only taking one, maybe even two, it's not that big of a deal, we think. And this might be the more normal way to play against Cathay. I'm not saying they're a walkover or pushover, they're definitely strong. But one lantern, you can kind of choose to just ignore it. Once you get into multiples, it's a lot harder. So that is the lantern first up. What I'm most scared of is the bomb squad, what I'm calling the bomb squad. Another YouTube commenter mentioned that Cathay is an alpha strike army. The Ogre Loaders allow his cannons and his fire rain rocket battery to fire twice or re-roll a misfire just once in the game. Most people I have seen, at least online and from what I've heard in our local scene, they tend to go all out turn one. That means this guy gets 8 shots. He gets 4 cannon shots, 4 goes at the fire rain rocket battery, which the lantern gives line of sight to the rocket battery. So that is another thing that is just going to annihilate my infantry if I can't get it into combat. Once I'm in combat, he can't target it, which is super important for me. But if he gets to go first and shoot with this stuff and hits directly with including his lantern 5 template attacks, that could just be my entire unit of Night Goblins gone, could be my entire unit of Black Orcs gone. So these guys are really where the firepower comes into play against in Paul's list. The cannons, on the other hand, are there. They can just one-shot a mangler. They could reload and one-shot another mangler. They could decimate my Doom Divers. They could chip off wounds against my Wyvern. These are all things that I need to do damage into Paul with. So Paul really has the jump on me, and his matchups early are where he wins the game. But if I can survive this first onslaught, I think I have the opportunity to turn the tables back in my favor, because I have more durability than him, I believe. But the artillery, and Alex and I have had this discussion, that maybe the cannon is actually the most powerful thing in the roster. I think you can take 3 or 4 of them, can't remember, but that is just like, it's sayonara to behemoths. It's too much. So this is probably what I'm most scared about. This is the thing that I think wins the game turn 1. I don't think it's the lantern. So it'll depend on some dice, which I love, but hopefully they fall in my favor. The next big bad of his list, and this is thankfully probably where it stops, but I'll get into that later, is the Monkey King. So that Monkey King's wisdom weapon is an absolute beast. Strength 10, AP 4, D3 wounds. He also has Spectral Doppelganger, so he has 4 attacks normally. He has the opportunity to cast that, but he has to roll a 7, and then I get to dispel it. So that's not a guaranteed. I think it is 50-50 essentially. I think a 7 is like a 54% chance or something like that. But if he gets that Spectral Doppelganger off, he has the opportunity to one-shot my Wyvern, one-shot my Black Orc unit, essentially, because he'll run them down. And then he also has the added bonus of having illusion magic behind him. So most likely I'd expect him to have Glittering Robe, which makes him harder to kill in combat. And he has Miasmic Mirage to just kind of keep my stuff still, and then unload crap loads of artillery fire onto it. So this guy is one of the main threats, along with the artillery, that's going to kill my things. So this is what I'm thinking about now, is how do Alex mentioned in his video, I think it's negate, neutralize, and I forget the other one. Apologies, Alex. But this guy falls into the negate and whatever the one that I've forgotten was, which is to kind of kill. So I am hoping to kill this guy before he can kill me. If I don't kill him, he will kill me. And I don't think I can run away from his artillery for the entire game. So this guy is terrifying, but he only has 7 wounds. He's only toughness 5. He's a 3-up, 5-up save. But he's killable, and I think that's what I have to do. The rest of his list, rounded out with those 3 units of Jade Warriors, as I said, shouldn't kill anything except for maybe my Nut Goblins, but I'd be throwing my Fanatics through these guys anyway. What these guys are going to do, though, is sit on objectives. They have Stubborn, they have a 3-up save, re-rolling 1s with parry, so they're just going to kind of sit there, which is what is going to be annoying for me. I don't have a lot of ranged firepower. I have a couple of Doom Divers and some short bows, which isn't going to kill a unit of these guys, most likely, and they're not my priority anyway. So, although they're not going to kill my stuff, this little trio of units has the ability to win the game for Paul, because we could just have this bloodbath, and if I don't kill these Jade Warriors, he's going to win probably 4 bonus points. So I can't ignore them. I have to whittle them down to at least 9 models, or I have to push them off objectives and capture them for myself. So, although offensively weak as piss, their role is to stand still and not get destroyed, which they're pretty good at doing. So that's Paul's army. Now let's get into mine. First off the list is my Wyvern. So I love this guy. I think he's a great piece. I think he's what Warhammer is about. He's got a fighty guy on top and a tanky guy on the bottom, but he's no guarantee to just rip through units. Normally I have better targets than this matchup, but in this matchup I think the only real target I have is the Shigangan Lord or the artillery, or if it's all going in my favor, then I'm like combo charging with this guy into artillery. But really this is my main chance, in combination with a few other things on my list, to kill the Shigangan Lord. I don't think he's going to do it by himself. So I either need to chip off wounds with Doom Divers, or I need to combo charge with a Mangler to get some impact hits before the challenge likely happens. But what this will come down to is generally in that combat with the Shigangan Lord is if he doesn't roll Spectral Doppelganger, I should win that combat. If I use my wire ability properly, I'll have an extra combat res. I have higher weapon skill. I am toughness 6. I am strength 7. So the stats are in my favor in the matchup, but Spectral Doppelganger swings it. But in my eyes, running around hiding from this guy is not the way A, I like to play, and B, I don't think it's how I'm going to win. So I think this is the first piece to my path to victory, because I don't think I win without killing the Shigangan Lord. So he's probably going to try and get that fight early, unless I get Miasmic Mirage off early on the Lord or Crystal Column, for example, to stop him charging into me. I have to charge him, essentially, to get what I want. The artillery, if I get super lucky, I can push him forward and then charge the artillery turn 2. But I think that's probably the secondary option. I think his main role here is the Lord. And what I just glossed over there, the high priority kill this is what Paul is going to chase as well. So where I deploy this guy is going to be very important. I want to hide him from cannons, and I want to set up a charge that I want, or I want to be safe, essentially. So the strategy really starts with this guy from deployment. Next up are my Doom Divers. This one I like. Like, this is the 2 pieces in my list that I think suit this matchup well. They can just one-shot one of his artillery. So if I go first, if I take out one of his 4 artillery with a direct hit and a 3+ on the wound dice, if I roll 2 to wound, that is, I am taking out 25% of his first round artillery, which is massive, such a big deal. So if I can spike and kill 2, then I think that starts me off on the perfect foot to win this game, because if I can weaken that first onslaught of artillery, then I'm in very, very good shape. The other thing is that it's another target for his artillery. So, like, I don't want him to kill these guys, but if he's shooting them instead of my Wyvern or my Manglers, then maybe I'm okay with that. It's 95 points. He's spending 175 on his artillery. So if it happens, so be it. And if he ignores it, then I get the chance to kill his. So this is a really one that forces a decision for Paul. I'm tempted to leave them out in the open, because then I'm forcing him to make a decision, and that means he can make the wrong one. And that's how you win games of Warhammer. There, I'll probably flip Shigangan or artillery, but at the same time, if he's giving me, say he goes first, and he puts his Shigangan Lord out into the open, and I have the opportunity to fire 2 Doom Divers at him, I will probably take it. If not, I try and chip off a wound, and if I can take 2 to 3 wounds off the Lord before my Wyvern gets in, then I'm a much better chance of just wiping out the Shigangan Lord in one round of combat before he swings with his Strength 10 beat stick. So that the Doom Dive is a pivotal piece for me to win this, and the matchup is wide. It's good to have options in matchups, and you're not just forced down this narrow path. Wolf Riders. I mentioned this is my secret bit of tech. I mean, it's not secret if you've watched this channel before, because I bloody love ambushes. But I tested these guys against Mike, friend of the pod. We were running the baggage train scenario, and they're perfect at capturing baggage trains. They come on the board when everyone's left their deployment zone. They just sweep on in. Reserve move 9 inches. They come on the board and they can't charge because they've ambushed, so impetuous doesn't matter. They just get to move straight into base contact with the baggage train. Similarly, they are very, very good at capturing other objectives. So that's really why I brought them in this list, because they can just run around in vacant space. But the secret sauce is Kicknick, because he is, at least in this matchup, it was like, it's lucky that this is what happened, but it also goes back to why I brought him in the first place, which is it gives them some sort of combat punch. Kicknick beats an Ogre Loader in combat, which is a big thing people struggle with. He's weapon skill 5, so he hits on 3s. He can be strength 6, so he can wound on 2s. He can also take the multiple wound 2 option, which would make him wound on 4s, I believe, maybe 3s. So, because the hardest part about killing the artillery of Cathay, it's not just running into a trebuchet that has 4 weapon skill 3, toughness 3 guys with no armor. There's a bloody ogre there with toughness 3 and 3 wounds. So it doubles the durability of a regular piece of artillery. But Kicknick can one-shot the guy. If not, he can at least wound the guy pretty reliably. And then I have a banner in there. And it's 7 dudes, 3, 6, 7, so it's 14 attacks. That'll all go first before the Ogre Loader. So I should be able to wipe out one piece of artillery at a time. And I can bring them onto the board in a way that the artillery blocks their own line of sight. So maybe only one unit can shoot at them. I can get within the minimum range of the Fire Rain rocket battery. But I need to stay out of the range of the, what's it called, the scatter shot, I forget what it's called, the cannon, let's call it scatter shot, why not, the short range ability which would annihilate these guys. So this is why I love ambushes. They often just fit the gap that you need and answer the question that I'd really struggle with. I have been toying with whether or not I ambush these guys, just in case I roll a 1 or a 2 on that first ambush roll, which definitely happens, and I'm not 100% sure there. But if I can deploy them in a way where they're hidden and they can just skirt around the back, I might do that. I'll be deploying these guys last regardless. But they are my Wolf Riders, and another key part, because these guys will be great for domination also. So they can just kind of skirt into an empty table quarter and hopefully flip domination into my favor, or into a draw, so I stem the bleeding. All right, moving on to the infantry and casters. So we'll start with the Night Goblins, because these guys are probably my weakest matchup, I think. They carry 3 fanatics, and that's about all they're going to be good for in this matchup. I imagine they're going to get blown to pieces, which might not be the worst thing, to be honest. I will try and throw my fanatics out as soon as I can into his infantry and just try and whittle them down into not scoring pieces. So they can't parry a fanatic. That's the best part about the matchup. If I send 3 fanatics through that don't kill themselves, that's 3d6, strength 5 hits. So an average of, what would it be, 10.5 wounding on 2s. So let's call it 8, 9 wounds that are no armor save. So that would take one unit down to unit strength 9, which means they can't score an objective. That would be my first strategy with these guys. The caster has illusion. If he doesn't get Crystal Column or Miasmic Mirage, then he's going to be severely weakened in his impact in this game. Glittering Robe will still be good just to kind of hamper the amount of damage the Lantern can do with his shooting attacks, but really it's the templates that are just going to annihilate these guys. So I don't love this in my matchup. I don't think I'm going to hide them though. I will probably still charge in. or sit them on the middle objective and just try and gain those bonuses. I don't know what I'm going to do with these guys, to be honest, but it's probably going to base around the fanatics tearing through some things. It wouldn't be a bad idea either just to throw fanatics into the Shigangan Lord. Try and do a few wounds. They'll be wounding on 4s, but say I roll 10 of them, that's 5 wounds that go to a 6+5. If I can chip some early wounds off the Shigangan, then I think Paul kind of has to go into his cage a little bit, which works in my favour, because then I get to determine the matchup pace. Let's move on to the Black Orcs, because they're another unit that it's not great, but they should chop through the opposing infantry. So Elementalism, it's not a bad matchup here because I can Plague of Rust into the infantry unit before I charge them. With Furious Charge and my Black Orcs, it kind of negates the fight in extra rank that the Jade Warriors will get, and my wounds will go straight to deaths. There'll be no armor save against that. Windblast also not terrible. The question will be whether or not I want TMP to play a bit more defensively. I think I want Earthen Ramparts, because a 5-up ward save when I'm not charging things just kind of helps a lot. So whether it's TMP and Earthen Ramparts, so I can still just move them and keep my 5-up ward, because keeping my Black Orcs alive is going to be key. The Night Goblins were in this list for unit strength to capture objectives, but I feel like they're going to get annihilated. But if he's killing my Night Goblins, he's not killing my Black Orcs. And if I can get them into combat earlier than later, then I think they have a good chance of contributing to the scoring at the end of the game. So that is where the Black Orcs end up. If he gives me infantry to charge, then I'm happy. If not, I essentially probably just hide these guys. I don't know, woods are dangerous terrain in this tournament, so I don't really want to send them into that either, because it's some high cost guys falling to a 1. So that's the interesting infantry matchups. I think it's infantry v infantry, and if it's not that, then I'm probably in trouble. The Shigangan Lord will just annihilate these guys. I'll probably win the challenge and make him break, but he'll just rally. So not too sure about that one, but we'll see how that one pans out. The last piece I'm going to talk about is the Manglers. These guys, as always, and which is why I love them, is they're just a wild card. You can roll 1 impact hit, you can roll 6, you can roll 1 attack, you can roll 6, you can have 15, including stomps and impact hits, attacks max from these 195 point model. They can wreak havoc. They have enough power by themselves to bring a unit of Jade Warriors down to unit strength 9, which I think is very important for me winning. I will likely run these guys in pairs because they can double charge, which is 2d6 impact hits and 2d6 random attacks with Killing Blow. So it's just a way of kind of shoring up that randomness with them. But the firepower, nonetheless, I feel like they can't be ignored. So this is another thing where if my Wyvern is out in the open, I want these guys to be out in the open too, so that they can maybe soak up a cannon shot. They die if he rolls a 5 or a 6 on the wound multiple wounds roll. But if they don't, and if they take 2 cannon shots, then that to me is 95 points well spent. If he's happy to take pot shots on them, then good times. But if he's not, I get to barrel into some infantry. The impact hits and stomps are also really interesting because they're a behemoth, and the Shigangan Lord and the Lantern are not. So if I get the opportunity to combo charge a Mangler and a Wyvern into the Shigangan Lord, then I'm going to take it. Because if I can roll some impact hits and do 2 wounds on the way in to the Lord, then my Wyvern could technically finish him off. If not, it goes a long way to me winning that combat. It's also... the random move also means that the Lantern can't stand and shoot against this thing. And really, the Manglers would do a lot of damage to the Lantern. AP 3 on the impact hits. Can't Killing Blow him, unfortunately, but still AP 2. And then AP 2 on the stomps. So if I'm, popping a few wounds off that Lantern as well, if he's overstretched, then I'll take that opportunity too. So my Mangler, you can see there the question mark. I think they have a myriad of options. After saying that, I reckon they'll get blown up turn 1. But I love these guys going into anything. If I roll bloody 16 on the random movement, turn 1, I'm just going to probably send them as far towards the artillery as possible so they can't be ignored. There's this great idea behind random move 3d6 is that, I don't know the percentage, but it's 1 in, 36 chance to roll a 12 with 2 dice. I don't know what it is. Someone can tell me the maths. To roll an 18 on 3 dice, but you have to respect it because if it comes off and they get their prime target, then you're stuffed. So the Manglers are a fun, great piece that really, like, if he chases these guys around the board, so be it. They're 95 points. That is their saving grace. So that is my list. They are my matchups. This is my overall strategy. First up, go for it. I play Wood Elves and Orcs and Goblins. The reason I play Orcs and Goblins is to fight stuff. So to do that is to go for it. I'm hardly going to sit behind a building with my Orcs and Goblins army waiting for my opponent just to rain fire on me, quite literally. So I'm going to put trust in the dice, be aggressive, and make my opponent make decisions and try and capitalize on his bad ones. The second strategy, and probably my highest target, is to kill the artillery. If I can stop all of that artillery shenanigans happening by turn 2-3, then I think I relax a bit, because his range threat really deteriorates. He still has the lantern, which I don't think I'm going to be able to kill, so I'm planning to ignore the lantern, but kill the artillery. If I get to go first and kill one, I can't tell you how great that would feel. The second priority is to kill the Shigangan Lord. I think the Wyvern and Mangler is the best way to do that. Maybe even comboing Plague of Rust in there, just to make sure everything goes straight to his ward save. I can spike on all of those things to make him pop in one combat. It's unlikely, but if I do 5 to 6 wounds to him, he's going to be running scared, and to have him in the back lines would just make my life a lot easier. So they're my top 2 targets. Once those 2 are dealt with, his damage output significantly deteriorates. So once he can stop these massive threats, overall I think my army is stronger. He has 3 key threats where I have a bit more longevity. So I'm going to try and lean into that. My other strategy is infantry into infantry, which I explained. My Night Goblins don't have the greatest matchup here, but the Black Orcs do. So if I can figure a way to get them into combat, then I'm in pretty good shape there. And it means they stop getting bloody blown up by a bazillion bombs dropping out of a lantern. The final piece is to not lose domination. So most of his unit strength is in his infantry. If I'm killing his artillery, then he's only going to have the infantry, the Shigangan Lord, and the lantern scoring in domination. So when I play this in the warm-ups, there's always a turning point in the game by about turn 4 where both players realize, shit, I'm not going to win this, or shit, I'm going to win this. And then attention turns on, how do I double win this by getting domination? Or how do I stem the bleeding by leveling the playing field on domination or getting more table quarters than my opponent? So then it becomes a whole runaway strategy, which my Wolf Riders can do, my Wyvern can do, my Manglers can do, but my infantry probably is the sacrificial lamb there. But hopefully I'm killing some of his infantry. If I can destroy 2 units of those Jade Warriors, he only has about 30 unit strength left on the board. So that is kind of where the end game ends up. And there you have it, guys. That is my overall strategy, and that is how I break down a pairing leading into a tournament. I've been doing this for about 6 days now. And if you're a Warhammer player, you might be doing the same thing whenever you go to a tournament, or if you've got a game coming up with your mate. And I think it's very healthy and very enjoyable. And I think it's how people get better at the game, is to think of these strategies and execute them. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm going down the wrong path. Let me know if you think I've got the right idea. This is my first time against Cathay, so I'm really going in blind, but excited to see them on the table. Again, like, comment, subscribe, guys, really does help. And if you're interested in supporting us, if you're liking this content, check out our Patreon and our YouTube membership to go the extra mile. But for now, I'm Paddy, and I will see you for the next 2+ video. See you later.